Welcome to the United We Scan podcast, the podcast by rural carriers for rural carriers. The views expressed in this podcast do not reflect the views or opinions of the United States Postal Service or the National Rural Letter Carriers Association. We ask that you please consult your assigned union representative for guidance in your local area. Make sure you like this podcast, share with your fellow rural carriers, and subscribe to be notified each time a new episode is uploaded. Please rate this podcast 5 stars where applicable and leave a comment or question for us below. Thank you. Now, here are the hosts of the United We Scan podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 67. Yep, it's another Train RRECS. That's another Train RRECS. Yeah, something like that anyways. And me, Bill, and James this evening. A few people have, it's Easter Sunday, and we're here for those of us that had nothing else going on. How was your week, James?
Oh, it was good. Working the mail like usual. Package volumes a little higher than my previous evaluation, and of course, still working my route the normal way. And then I get to Saturday and I message my supervisor and ask him how my route did, and he told me it went down another hour. And this time, unlike the last mini mail survey, I didn't go down 15 minutes. I went down another 58 minutes on my evaluation. And I haven't changed the way I do stuff. I haven't changed the way I do inputs or any of that stuff. But I believe that it has a lot more to do with stuff that's going on with the mailings themselves and what we are and are not allowed to input anymore. So I'm going to have to go through with a fine-tooth comb, which I'm sure everybody else is going to do at the same time. I'm going to remind everybody that we do have a previous episodes on the activity scans, although some of them are a little bit different with the updates that our union leaders have so nicely changed for us without telling us or showing us what they were changed for. And there's also our episode breaking down the 4241A. That has changed slightly as well, but there are updates on the union website as well as Rural Info. They have pulled that stuff and put it on there as well. Those are my two shameless plugs for episodes that we have on the podcast concerning RRECS and the 4241s that we just received and how maybe you can help your route. But we'll get more into that through this episode too, right? How about you, Bill? How was your week?
Well, let's see. Monday was typical, very heavy. Tuesday, we were graced with the postmaster and our supervisor giving us a service talk about safety, about not starting before 8:30 because we have an 8:30 start time. You're not allowed to work off the clock, and you're not allowed to be more than 5 minutes late to work, and with the standard threats of discipline. So Thursday morning, I had Thursday off, but one of the PTFs came in a little early. A regular came in behind him and said to the supervisor, "What is this individual doing on the floor?" And the supervisor had to yell at the PTF. Friday was a decent day. Again, my parcels have, stayed in the 150 to 170 range. Of course, the many mail surveys. Nobody asked me to work Saturday, so I planned accordingly. Saturday morning, I went into the office to get my 4241A, or A, and supervisor was there. "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm here to get my 4241. What do you think?" In the meantime, I handed the steward election form to a carrier who posted that, and she will put it up and get elected in timely fashion and trained 1 week after the election if everything times out correct. So when my supervisor said, "What am I doing?" I said, "Well, I heard somebody called out and I thought I'd stop by." She goes, "Oh, it's just one." I said, "Okay." So I collected my 4241A and left. I'm 10 minutes down the road. The supervisor's calling. "Another carrier called out. You want to come back to work?" I said, "I'm sorry, you've reached a recording. Please leave a message." And then I hung up on her. Of course, I enjoyed that day immensely because I'm seeing where these people are losing time on their routes and they don't have subs and they're splitting routes. And Do you really think regulars, let alone the subs, are doing it correctly in switching over to routes so that your route gets proper credit? I don't think so. But that's just my opinion. And some people are knowledgeable enough to do it, and they're trustworthy to give credit to the route. But most of them don't. They're just looking to get the hours done and out of the office. So anyway, that was just a good feeling to sit there and say no. I was just there, offered my services inadvertently, and luckily got out of there before they found out they had a second call out. And then today was Easter Sunday. And Easter Sunday is the day that our subs were going to a 10 a.m. start time, which we'll get into, for delivering Amazon Sunday. And what a fiasco that was. Other than that, spent the day with the family, good times, lots of good food and desserts, a little Easter egg hunt for the kids and all. So it was very enjoyable. All in all, for me, I thought it was a wonderful week. Kristen, how was your week?
Oh, Monday was a shit show. It was heavy Monday. We had my RCA got thrown onto our POV route blind on a Monday. They did actually have an extra LLV brought up for him to use. And yeah. And then the other RCA that was working was on R4, and again, super heavy. So I had already said, hey, I'll check on him when I get back. And so needless to say, when I got back at 5:30, I then went out to Route 4, and I took a little bit off of him to help get him back. Got back to the office at 7, then immediately turned around and drove out to help my sub, which was probably about 25 miles out on the POV route. And at that point, she had already told him to stop delivering the mail and just get the parcels. He had missed some parcels, so I took the ones that he had missed because they were literally from one end of the route to the other and back down again. So I said, just give me the ones that you missed, continue on your way down for these last ones. I got back to the office at 20 after 8 on Monday.
Oh.
Yep, I worked just shy of 13 hours Monday. We're about just over 12 and a half hours Monday. So, yeah. Tuesday and Wednesday, they trained my sub on R4. He was supposed to do it all completely on his own Thursday. They had the aux route carrier assist him, I should say. And then, of course, me being the low man on the totem pole, I was forced in on my K-Day yesterday so they could use my sub on Route 4. Again, that carrier's been on vacation all week. Yeah, that's my week in a handbasket. I did get my 4241A yesterday. I'm going to ask for my M when I get back tomorrow when supervisor's in. 204B was nice enough to print it off for me. And I did go up an hour, so my route is now going to be a 46K starting next Saturday. So I'm not going to complain about that. I was just glad it didn't go down. I was hoping to stay the same, or at least let's not go down, so I'll take the hour increase.
Yeah, rub it in, miss. I get off the route really early every day. Phil and I over here working hard, and you're sitting there going, I'm getting off at noon, 12:30, 1 o'clock.
I have never gotten done at 12:30 on that route. The earliest I've ever gotten done is 1. Normally early for me is 2:30, sometimes 3.
Yeah, rub it in. So, do you want to give a few updates on things right now that people need to be focused on? I'm hearing that some states are sending out delegate ballots soon. If you're having your county meetings are coming up as well, or your local meetings, your annual local meetings in some areas are happening soon. So make sure you get involved in those. Make sure you check your delegate ballots, research the people that are on it, pick the ones you think will actually vote in support of the craft, and go make sure you mail them in. Because last year, on average across the country, 10% of people returned their ballots. Only 10% of voting membership returned their ballots. Those are rookie numbers. We need to move them up.
Shameless plug.
Definitely need to.
My if you are in my local county unit, Northeastern in Michigan, our annual meeting is April 17th. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Should have gotten your postcard in the mail last week. So April 17th on your calendar is our local annual meeting. Anyways.
Oakland County, Michigan is April 10th. So shameless plug there.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, your delegate ballots for national convention are coming out. And after you send those in, those delegate ballots get counted just before your state convention. And then the delegate list comes out at state convention. You have to make sure that you're taking care of this in a timely fashion. Those are the big things that we're focusing on, especially this year. If you guys want to make a change in the union, if you want to make a difference in this union, you have to exercise every right you are afforded in this union.
And
Otherwise,
let me put that in perspective. 10% of the eligible people sent their ballots in. Out of 130,000 carriers, only 10% send it in. Not all of the 130 are eligible, but 10% of the eligible send it in, who then elect 1% of the people who go to the national convention as delegates and vote for you. 1% of the people you vote for go to the national convention and control the destiny of this craft. Let's get those numbers up, folks.
absolutely. Can you imagine the difference it would make if 20, 30, 40, even 50% of the dues-paying members actually voted for the delegates that they would like to see there? Could you imagine when it comes to contract ratifications, if instead of the 20% of the craft that votes for contract ratification, could you imagine the difference it may make if 30, 40, 50% voted?
Yeah. And how can you not be involved? Go ahead, James.
Imagine if 100% voted. Imagine if every voting member of this craft gave their opinion on a vote. If everybody who is a dues-paying member eligible to vote turned around and voted on this, you could be on Facebook and you could complain, you can argue, you can make statements about this craft on Facebook, but putting your vote on a piece of paper and sending it in to make a difference for this craft is the ultimate thing you can do for this craft. It's the ultimate statement as a craft member.
And I always advocate for people to get involved at the local level in their own office and everything. Why in the world wouldn't you take several minutes to send in your vote that affects your paycheck? I don't want to say you're asinine and I don't want to say you're stupid, but you're stupid and asinine if you don't try to control your own destiny. And that's the power of the ballot.
And this right here says it all in the listener chat. Stand up at National and say that shit you say on Facebook in front of 1,200 people. Absolutely.
We do.
We do. When I'm a delegate and I can get up there and talk, yes, I do. Or I have somebody say it for me, James.
I've done that for you a couple of times.
There's a reason why, as a non-delegate, I sat next to you and you were sitting next to the microphone. Yes.
I ain't afraid to stand up there and say my piece or say somebody else's piece that isn't a delegate, because that's my duty as a member of this craft, is not only to speak for myself, but to speak for those who are unable to speak.
Your duty and your right.
Yep.
Yes. Now that we have our 4241 A's and M's, everybody's going to take the next week to figure out what happened to the routes. And even if you went up, even if you're back to where you were before, still go through it with a fine-tooth comb, because you could find more minutes that they missed. You could find more time that they missed. You could raise your route even higher and get more pay.
All right. And with that being said, I'm going to read the Memorandum of Understanding that has to do with the rural route evaluation process. This is the most recent one that was dated 3/27 of 2024. The U.S. Postal Service and the National Rural Letter Carriers Association have agreed to an alternate dispute resolution process in an effort to resolve disputes outside the formal grievance procedure, following the implementation of the rural route evaluations effective April 6, 2024. The rural route evaluation dispute process will be used to address disputes where the assigned rural carrier has identified potential errors in the time credits provided on the PS Form 4241A. This process will be used to resolve disputes related to the subjects below without the filing of grievances. The parties agree that carriers may dispute the following: an entry of 0 or a questionable number in any data field on the PS Form 4241A that would otherwise expect to have a time credit. An obvious error in any of the following data fields on the PS Form 4241A: route length, regular, centralized, or total boxes, daily dismounts, daily dismount distance, collection compartments, TCP, daily activities, miscellaneous time, and office walk distance. What was that?
You had to do that, didn't you?
Yes.
You had to do that, didn't you?
Absolutely. Miscellaneous time. And office walk distance. The Postal Service and the NRLCA will designate representatives at the district and area levels to review and adjudicate the disputes filed using this procedure. These representatives will work in teams of 2 and will consult with local operations personnel to include the district delivery support specialist as necessary to review and discuss the dispute and further develop the supporting documentation. To initiate a dispute, the assigned carrier and local management representative will complete Evaluation Dispute Form 1. While completing the form, the parties at the local level shall discuss the data fields in dispute, and should they agree that an appropriate credit has not been provided, they will annotate the form accordingly. Upon completion, the form with all relevant documents will be forwarded to the manager, labor relations at the district, and the NRLCA district representatives. This form must be submitted no later than April 19th, 2024. The designated representative at the district level will annotate the dispute on the Rural Route Evaluation Dispute Log and assign a district control number before meeting with the NRLCA district representative. District teams will thoroughly review all relevant factors that affect the credit provided in the PS Form 4241A data field in dispute, including any notations of agreements made by the local parties. The team will either agree to a resolution, agree no action will be taken, or will impasse the dispute and complete the top portion of the Evaluation Dispute Form 2, providing an explanation for the final decision within 30 days of receipt at the district level. If the parties are not able to reach an agreement at the district level, Evaluation Dispute Form 1, Evaluation Dispute Form 2, and all supporting documentation will be forwarded to the Area Director Labor Relations or their designee and the NRLCA designated representative. The area team will jointly complete a review of the file. The area team will either agree to a resolution, agree no action will be taken, or will impasse the dispute and complete the bottom portion of the Evaluation Dispute Form 2. If the dispute remains unresolved after the area review, each team member will provide a written recommendation for resolution to accompany the file. A copy of the file will be forwarded to the Director, Contract Administration, NRLCA, and the NRLCA Director of Labor Relations, or their designees, within 21 calendar days of the receipt at the area level. The headquarters team will jointly review the file and either agree to a resolution, agree no action will be taken, or will impasse the dispute. The team's decision will be in writing and provided to the RREDP team at the area level for further dissemination. The parties agree that if an impasse is reached, the dispute will be referred to Step 4 as an interpretive issue. The parties agree to reassess this dispute process prior to the next rural route evaluation effective date to determine if any changes will be made to these procedures and to update the timelines for submission. All right, that is the MOU on rural route evaluation dispute process. So in a nutshell, obvious errors in the following data fields of route length, regular, centralized, or total boxes, daily dismounts, daily dismount distance, collection compartments, TCP, your traffic control points, daily activities, miscellaneous time, and office walk distance. And then, of course, if there's any entry of 0 or questionable number in any data field that would otherwise expect it to have a time credit, those are what you can dispute.
I kind of have a problem with the timeline of 30 days and 21 calendar days. Somewhere along the line, it adds up to 51 to me. How many people have not received their disputes back yet, let alone get their disputes pushed up to step 2? And I've never heard of any going to step 3.
All right, and this is just kind of an addendum with that.
Yeah.
It says rural route dispute process issues and documentation. All disputes must include a 4241A, 4241M, and the LTM data page. RRECS disputes, the rural route evaluation dispute process, will be used to address disputes where the assigned carrier has identified potential errors. Local management and the carrier should discuss and work together to submit the necessary documentation needed to resolve the issues. And then listed on the following pages some common issues being disputed and the recommended documentation needed at the very minimum that should accompany the dispute. Please remember that each item being disputed should be on its own dispute form along with the necessary documentation. The dispute and the documentation will be sent to the Manager of Labor Relations at the district level by the postmaster and to the NRLCA district representative. Only clear, legible copies should be provided to both parties. Pictures are unacceptable. Hard copy is requested. If you have more than one dispute, you have to have a separate dispute form for each dispute.
Yeah, we're not going to go over the documents that you need for each item to go through that. That's a long list, and it should be available on the NRLCA. It is available on the NRLCA website. Should be available on Rural Info, as well as we'll have it available on our Discord in our files.
I'll
so you
put
can see it there.
I'll put it in the files under the on the Facebook group as well.
Yeah. So you'll be able to find the information that you need wherever you need it possible. But you have to have your 4241A, your 4241M, and your line of travel manager data page. The last page after you submit, it's going to show you the box counts, mileage, and so on and so forth. So you'll have to have that as well. You realize the dispute form only requires data issues in the 4241A. Now, the 4241M is what goes into the 4241A. So if there is a dispute with a number on your 4241M, it's going to affect a number on the 4241A. So you can dispute that stuff. Just make sure that you have the documentation to go with it. This is one of the few times where a situation of an issue, like a grievance, you have a dispute with management, where you have to provide the documentation versus management providing it, which in my opinion completely sucks because management has all this information already. We should be able to just file a dispute and management be able to pull up that information because they use that information to get this system. Why can't they pull it up themselves?
The same way they can't give you a parcel tracking report in a daily basis.
Yeah.
Half of them don't even know how to get it.
Yeah, in fact, it says here there is no 52-week report that can be requested to verify parcel volumes. But yeah, we're supposed to depend on this system to tell us our parcel volumes.
So yeah, that's the dispute process. I don't think I personally don't see anything needed to dispute on mine currently at this time, I should say, glancing over it. Like I said, I don't have my M yet, but my 4241A, it doesn't look like I have anything to dispute currently.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on them to come up with the program for us to be able to view our numbers ourselves that the union promised us.
Yeah, and then they retracted on that and said it wasn't financially feasible.
Well, no, because they don't want to spend any money on anything other than what's good for them, like Starbucks.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
I'd rather have Crown than Starbucks, honestly.
Thank you.
I don't even drink
But no,
coffee at work, so give me a Monster Zero any day of the week, but don't, yeah, no coffee for me.
You know, I tried going without coffee on Wednesday morning.
I'm
My court
sorry.
date's next. My court date is next Tuesday.
I have reasons why I don't drink coffee at work. I'm not going to get into those personal reasons, as we all know what coffee does to one, so, and to some, so, yeah, I don't drink coffee at work for that reason. But, on Sundays at home, I drink coffee. I did have a cup today, but
all right. Let's throw some more logs on the fire here. Been seeing advertisements for new supervisor positions for people right off the streets.
yeah, do we
Which,
really need more supervisors?
Do we need
well,
more
I
bad
mean,
supervisors?
do we really need more people who don't understand the postal service?
Do we need people that have never delivered mail supervising carriers?
Do we need more people afraid of the postmaster, who's afraid of the poom, who's afraid of the district manager? They'll all lose their jobs if they don't get their reports done by 10:30, because doing those reports moves the mail.
You know, when we have our 204B on the desk, as even he said, he's like, I'm just kind of a babysitter for you guys. I'm like, we don't need a babysitter. He goes like, yeah, I know you guys don't. I'm just here because they need somebody here. And I'm like, we're doing just fine. He's like, yeah, you guys are. No problems. I'll just sit back and tell you you're clear when you get back. It's like, cool, thanks. See you later.
Well, that's the key. If you actually look at M38, the M38 does say specifically that management should arrive prior to the first carrier scheduled to work and should not leave until the last carrier is back from their route. And a lot of offices have gotten away from that. I think that's something we should be enforcing and making management wait for us, especially with driving LLVs and stuff like that out there.
Or delivering Amazon when you started at 10 a.m. on Sunday.
Yeah, that's the next thing to discuss.
Oh, damn. What a segue.
I'm gonna be out of this conversation. We don't have Sunday Amazon in my office. So I'm gonna let you guys handle that one.
Well, that's Bill and me, because
Oh,
my office they have to travel to a hub for delivery now. We used to be the hub, but they now have to travel up to Clarkston to deliver for the hub. And I've had conversations with my carriers there, and they're not even delivering our parcels out of that hub. They're delivering Clarkston parcels, and not just Amazon. They're delivering UPS. They're delivering DHL. They're delivering postal parcels. They're costing routes money delivering parcels on Sunday, on top of the fact that they're delivering Amazon and starting at 10 o'clock now. And Bill and I did discuss this during the week. And Bill, have at it.
oh God. There's nothing more joyous than being off on Thursday. I had to follow up to my operation and everything went well. Doctor is pleased with my progress, and my mental capacity should return to normal sometime in 2052. Other than that, I get a phone call from a sub saying, "What the hell's going on? We can't come into work on Sunday till 10 a.m." And I asked, I said, well, explain it to me. The supervisor explained that deliveries will start at 10 a.m. on Sunday in our office, and we're a large office, and that's that. Now, everybody knew that this Sunday, today, was going to be Easter Sunday. People make family plans weeks, if not a month ahead of time. And this carrier was concerned because they cook and had a lot of people coming over. And I advised the carrier that, using their discretion on whether or not, they, come in earlier or don't come in or do come in. It's up to them, but it's their discretion. So I started making phone calls. First phone call was the DR, who wasn't available. Second phone call was to the NRO, who was available, who then turned around and called our director of labor operations. In the meantime, I got on the phone. I was calling the director of steward operations, who was not in on Thursday, and was sent to the phone voicemail for her assistant because her assistant wasn't available either. The NRR gets back to me and explains to me that the director of labor operations, Bridget Boziak, explained that Management is allowed to change the hours. They only have to give advance notice, reasonable advance notice, when they're changing a regular carrier's delivery, their drop day. I said to the NRO, I said, did Bridget understand this was subs, Sunday, Amazon? Had nothing to do with regular carriers or their drop days. But she quoted an article from our contract, Article 30, in regards to changing drop days. And I just had to shake my head. Article 34.3 says about getting reasonable advance notice to rural carriers. RCAs, ETFs, RCRs are rural carriers. It didn't say career. It didn't say substitutes. It says rural carriers. Black and white. I'm not interpreting this. This is in the contract. Now, the situation for this one particular carrier, turned around and called the supervisor. Supervisor, said, okay, you can come in at 8:30. Now we're going to have a problem with disparity of treatment for one individual over the other 6. Half an hour later, the supervisor calls back and tells the carrier, no, the POOM says it's 10 o'clock. And I'm thinking this is just a regional type thing. And then my phone started popping with people across the country, all getting the same message of 10 a.m. start time. Now, the previous week in Westchester, Pennsylvania, 3 of the W routes, which is, the consolidation of numerous routes, the smallest route was 11.47 hours. The next route was 12 something. The third route, the largest route that went out, was 14 hours, which means if they started at 10 a.m. today, they would have got done at midnight tonight. And what supervisor is going to be out, at the office waiting for the carrier? And on top of that, that carrier would also know 432.32 ELM says no more than 12 hours. And I'd advise them to bring it all back for safety reasons. Being out too long, tired, unsafe. This is just horseshit, folks. Now, my DR did get back and say to me that this is a possible step 4 class action grievance, but it has to go through either Bridget or Shirley. And how much faith does anybody have in either one of them doing anything for us? This is the absolute capitulation of the National Rural Letter Carriers Association in the eyes of the post office, because they can say and do anything they want, and then they tell us to grieve it. I hate that. I'd like to be able to sit there and say, no, it's not against, it's against the contract. It's against safety. It's immoral. It's illegal. I'm not doing it without repercussions in regards to losing your job. I'm sick and tired of this horseshit, ladies and gentlemen. It's got to stop. And the only way it stops is when we change leadership, because they've done nothing for us for at least the last 15 years.
I'm going to say this. The reason why management is changing it to 10 o'clock is multifaceted. So one of the reasons why is the clerks getting everything up on Sunday is one of their arguments. Another one of their arguments is, oh, well, guess what? If they leave at 10 o'clock, they're more likely to hurry out there, be risky in what they're doing, risk safety in order to deliver more parcels to get done earlier. You're sending them out in the summer. It's going to be the hottest time of the year, hottest time of the day. You're going to put them out there delivering these parcels when they were starting at 8 o'clock. Some of them were getting done at 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon before it really got to the hottest part of the day, which is around 3 in the afternoon. Things like that. You're risking carrier safety. You're risking carriers being out past dark. You're risking carriers' livelihood and their life, because they're going to try and push themselves to deliver parcels that really aren't worth jack. Your Amazon parcel of paper towels, kitty litter, and dog food doesn't have to be rushed to your house. I understand that dog food's important to your pets. I understand that. But these carriers should not be out there trying to find ways to be quicker at this job at the cost of safety. And that's what they're doing by starting them at 10 o'clock in the morning, when the clerks could have been started at 6:30. Amazon could have delivered at 6:30 in the morning, and the parcels could have been up by 8:30 in the morning. But when you're not thinking about carrier safety, which is management's go-to. They don't think about carrier safety. It's all about getting those scans done so they are not a list at district office. That's when I have an issue with it.
Well,
This
the
is
other part of it, the backlash of this whole situation is, did we not have enough clerks, to sort the parcels? Okay, when did the Amazon truck arrive? Did we move the start time back because Amazon wants to get more out the door and their truck is arriving later? Or is it because of the fact that we are running not only the Amazon parcels, but the DHL, the FedEx, the UPS, and everything else, but we're also running parcels that we should be getting on Monday. This previous Monday, I ran into no less than 23 mailboxes that had spurs in them from Sunday, and none of them had Sunday delivery on them. So basically, I think they're moving it back so they get more time to run these things on the machine, sort them out, and get the parcels out on Sunday so that we don't get credit for them on Monday. And that's what our DR is going to have to look into, because our packages, that unless they specify Sunday delivery, shouldn't be going out the damn door.
I
And we
agree.
shouldn't be holding up for Amazon to get there if their truck's getting there later. We work with Amazon, not for, at least not yet.
this is not something that should be happening. And I believe that if it's this way, the carriers should be getting there on Sunday at the same time that the carriers normally get there for delivery Monday through Saturday. So if your office is at 8 a.m. start time, your carrier should be there and picking up at 8 a.m. all these Amazon parcels. It's that simple. It shouldn't be, oh, well, we're going to push it back to 10 o'clock so we can sort all the priority, express, the DHL, UPS, FedEx, laser ship, everybody else. So that way we can have this office completely empty of parcels for Monday.
Yeah, no, because now you're taking away those parcels from the routes evaluation. The ones that are
Mm-hmm.
not Sunday Amazon. Everything else that does not have Sunday delivery on it is supposed to go out on Monday. Now you're pulling from people's evaluations, which is total horseshit.
Well, I like the explanation that, oh, well, we can push the priority packages along the line. The priority packages give you an estimation of when they're going to arrive. There is no guarantee that they'll arrive within 3 to 5 days. It's an average, an estimation. So they don't have to go out on Sundays either. If you have an express mail, fine. If you have something that says Sunday delivery, fine. Otherwise, leave it on the floor for Monday. We all know Mondays are heavy normally, and we're attuned to that. But stop stealing from the craft.
It's not like they actually care about it anyways, because Express sits until the next day now anyways and is a failure. So it's not really a big issue of that either. So that can wait till Monday anyways because it's already a failure because it sat there on Saturday after it was delivered after the carrier left. So it's not really a big deal there either. So it's not really about getting it out there because it's there. It's about getting it out of there so it's not on the carrier's evaluation. You're right about that.
And
So
answering to the statement in the listener chat, says, Kristen, don't you think that's the plan, to hand off volume on Sunday to cut routes? Yeah. I honestly believe that's management's idea of trying to control the evaluations in some form or another, is to hand off that stuff that normally would have gone out on Monday and have it delivered on Sunday. Because now anything we all know that's delivered on Sunday and holidays is not counted towards the evaluation. I can totally see that. We had that issue in an office just south of me, that they were throwing stuff on that didn't belong to be delivered on Sundays. I mean, I remember that when we first got Amazon in my old office. There were days that we had priorities to bulk up the routes because it wasn't as heavy. And at the time it was before RRECS, and nobody really thought about it like that, But now that you're thinking about that, yeah, I mean, that's messing with our evaluation. That's messing with our pay. That's one way for management to try and control what our evaluations are. And I know my manager, when she gets back, I guess she's on vacation again this week, will not be happy that my route went up an hour. I know she won't be happy because I'm tied with the other route for the biggest routes in the office. You think I care? No. I feel that, yeah, my route should be a 46. I have, outside of the one other route, which is a totally different zip code, it's the only route for that zip code, I do have the biggest route in the office, the heaviest route in the office. But yeah, I don't agree with it, and this pushing the start times to 10 o'clock, even though it doesn't affect my office directly, I think it's a load of horse crap. I really do. Because again, you're pushing the safety issues. It's like the same safety issues that we have on the RCAs when you have these POOMs and district managers having teleconferences just for RCAs telling them they gotta get out of the office faster. They have to be back by 5 o'clock. I'm sorry, if your start time's 8 a.m. and you're on a route that is 9+ hours, you don't have to be back by 5 o'clock. The only ruling in there for RCAs is the 12-hour rule. So why are we going to try and rush them into unsafe work practices because management wants to go home at 5 o'clock?
That's a big bite me.
Yep, it is. And I'm dealing with that in my office with pushing these RCAs. So we're putting 2 RCAs on one route and getting a borrowed RCA to split another route with another RCA because we don't want these carriers out past 5 o'clock because we want to go home. Why are you bringing a carrier from 40 miles away to split a route? That's not even fair to that carrier who's driving 40 miles in to have some hours to do half a route. And why are you bringing in a carrier from another office when you have an RCA from our office sitting at home that day? Sorry, I had to go there. It's nice that we have a steward now that just got certified in our office, and even though that person can't tell these RCAs what they can and can't do for filing, it's their choice, I sure as hell can educate them, and I have been, and I will continue it.
It's our responsibility as members of this craft to let people know when they have an issue that they can get solved with a grievance process.
That's the
Every
only that,
craft member.
and honestly, people, there are many carriers out there that have absolutely no faith in the grievance process and just let things go because they have no faith in the grievance process. They have no faith in the steward system right now, and I understand that. I have seen those people in my office, even when I was a steward. That was the hardest thing for me, because they like the keyboard warriors out there, they're gonna bitch and whine and moan and groan all day long, but they're not doing anything. And honestly, the grievance process is the only way that we have to fight back. It is the only thing to have that paper trail to fight back, to fight against management and uphold our rights in our contract in our offices. It is the only thing that we have. And I suggest people use it.
And that's a shame because a lot of people don't have faith, just like they don't have faith in the RECS program and the dispute process.
Too many people are too complacent. And there are many carriers out there that are very complacent in way the old system was. This is not the old system anymore. It's never going to go back to the old system as far as I can see in the future. It's here to stay. You need to learn it. We did have that episode 16 with the activity scans, and I have suggested before that we do an updated one, and we may still do it, just to retouch on the things that have changed, to get people out of that complacency. If you're going to be complacent, and even if you're looking to retire, you may screw that next carrier that's going to come up and take that route over. Because that route may be severely underevaluated, but because you're complacent and just don't care, that next carrier is going to have to work their tails off to get everything where it needs to be for that next year to get that route to be where it should be, if it is one of those that is severely underevaluated. And I know there's still some out there. And then we have some of these ridiculous ones that I've seen. 90 standard hours? 15 and a half hour daily evaluation hours? What the hell?
That was almost
Well, I want to disagree with you, Kristen. I want to disagree with you about going back to the old ways, because they did have a modification on the RECS program for the PARS labels.
Yes.
And they changed the verbiage on there so that you're only getting credit for the PARS labels during the mini mail survey.
Which I absolutely disagree with.
Yes, and it's the same damn thing that we went through with the mail count. Only what happened during the mail count did it count. Folks,
Mm-hmm.
if you have an apartment complex, if you have townhomes,
If you
if
have
you
a
have rental units,
seasonal
you know,
route,
yeah, right.
Yep.
and
So,
I'm gonna use mine
guys,
for an instance real quick, guys. I have a very seasonal route. I have over 100 seasonal residents on my route. I had one PARS label during the mini mail survey. One. That was a move left no address that I had done. Since that mini mail survey that has ended, I've gotten over half a dozen PARS labels because of my
yep.
people that are coming back, or some that are changing them, some that are, decided they're not coming back quite, so soon. They extended it out. They deleted it early because they're coming back. I've got several different residence areas that are, constantly flipping new people in and out, new people in and out. I've had over a half a dozen PARS labels since the mini mail survey ended, and during the mini mail survey, I had one. And the next mini mail survey at the end of August, I probably will have just as many because my seasonals don't leave till October.
So
And
that actually
the
just puts
the
me right
thing,
into a perfect discussion here. We do have
okay,
an episode on resolutions that you could put forth at your annual local meeting or at your state convention that can go on to national. One of my resolutions is to bring back the 52 weeks of PARS labels. I'm passing that up this year because I just like you. I had before the mini mail survey, 2 weeks before the mini mail survey, I had 12 PARS labels. During the mini mail survey, I had 9 PARS labels that were all moved left no addresses that I did myself from addresses that I got mailed back from people on the route, the people that haven't lived there. Granted, they were moved left no address ones, but they're still counting for the mini mail survey. But I'm putting it in as a resolution. One of the current 17 that I'm putting forth for national convention right now. Anybody that's wants to get involved, that's one of the ways you can do that is put in resolutions to make changes like this, to make difference in the craft, to tell the leadership what you want the craft to have, either in the next contract, in the national constitution, things like that. So go back and review our episode on resolutions that we have. The information has not changed in that one, at least.
Or even an activity scan for PARS labels. That, hey, I'd be all about that too. I'd
yeah,
have no issues
yep.
on that. PARS labels, enter the quantity you have that day. What's wrong with
Yeah.
that? I,
And if you have if you barcode them, then they can be recognized.
yeah, yeah, I have no issues with that. That would solve something over a 52 week. But they're printed out. It's not like they don't know how many are coming in each day. They're printing them out every day.
Uh, don't go too far, okay?
Okay.
I usually get them 2 or 3 days after. Think people have moved forward. I have a premium forward. I got a week and a half after it started, and the clerk came to my case and said, "This lady's calling up complaining she's not getting her premium forward." I said, "Tell her I'm in the same boat. I haven't gotten it either."
But yeah, I mean, I would be all about an activity scan for PARS labels. I have no issue with that whatsoever. That would definitely be something to look into future wise.
And there was one more thing you wanted to discuss tonight, Kristen.
Relief day work list.
Yes, the biggest arguments I've seen on Facebook the past couple of weeks, I think, has been the relief day work list, not the overtime list. We do not have an overtime list. We are not city carriers. We do not have overtime. We cannot accept overtime. We can volunteer for it through an MOU, but we do not have an overtime list. Please correct your manager if they're calling you on the overtime list. It is the relief day work list.
Which
No ifs,
also
ands, or buts.
works hand in hand with the order of consideration.
Yes.
Yes. Relief day work list. Let me pull this up. Sorry, I got logged out before I had it up. But
We were talking too much, and you lost your timing on that.
yeah, it's okay though. It's okay. Relief day work list is covered in Article 8.5 as well as Article 30.2.d as in dog, point 5 of the contract. There is also the Wilson letter, the P-115. There is a letter of mutual understanding from 2000, the R-98. There is a Step 4 from 02, which is now considered the R-96. There is a Step 4 from 05, which is considered the H-70. And then, of course, there's the implementation guidelines, the R-95 for the Relief Day work list. This came out back in, 99? So this the implementation guideline for the Relief Day work list and PTF role carrier positions and the extension to the 95 through 99 USPS NRLCA National Agreement. I'm going to just cover the Relief Day work list part. So the new provision allows regular carriers who desire to work their Relief Day to place their names on a Relief Day work list in the delivery unit. In order to implement this new provision immediately, there will be a 2-week initial implementation period. Regular rural carriers signed a Relief Day work list period. This was back 2000. So at the beginning of this period, management in each delivery unit with a rural delivery will establish a list for regular rural carriers to sign, indicating their desire to work any Relief Day needed until the end of the guarantee period. So I'm just kind of going to highlight just the important stuff here. And if it is necessary to work a regular rural carrier on a Relief Day, management will select the senior rural carrier on the list with the applicable Relief Day. Each occasion thereafter, management will rotate the assignment to work the Relief Day among the rural carriers on the list with the needed Relief Day. The regular rural carrier selected to work the Relief Day will serve on his or her assigned regular route. The leave replacement that would have otherwise been working that route will be utilized on the rural route in the delivery unit without coverage for that day. If the leave replacement has never served that route, is qualified on another route in the delivery unit, management may change assignments with another leave replacement who has experience on the route needing coverage. Our substitutes, RCAs, and RCRs serving primary assignments and those assigned to auxiliary routes may not have their assignments changed. Management may also say, well, we don't have TRCs anymore. Just serve the routes needing coverage and place the RC on a route in which he or she is qualified. If the routes in the delivery unit still do not have coverage after exhausting the Relief Day work list, management will select regular rural carriers not on the list that have indicated they want to work the Relief Day on that day before mandating regular carriers not on the list by juniority. Management may bypass a regular carrier whether they are on the Relief Day work list or not, if it would cause the carrier to exceed the hours of the annual guarantee or 56 actual hours within 1 week. Only regular rural carriers whose names are on the Relief Day work list will be provided one of the 3 compensation options described below when working the Relief Day. It must be emphasized that management must utilize available leave replacements in the delivery unit before assigning a regular rural carrier to work the Relief Day. Qualified leave replacements must be utilized prior to assigning other leave replacements in the office to work the Relief Day. Compensation for working Relief Day. All regular carriers not on the Relief Day work list who work the Relief Day will receive a compensation at 50% of the carrier's daily rate of pay, in addition to receiving an X day within 12 weeks as scheduled by the employer. Regular rural carriers on the Relief Day work list who work the Relief Day will select one of the following options. 1. An X day to immediately schedule by mutual agreement between the carrier and the employer. The scheduled X day must be within the next 12 weeks, which is essentially a DACA R. Number 2, compensation at 50% of the carrier's daily rate of pay in addition to receiving an X day within 12 weeks as scheduled by the employer. DACA 3. Number 3, compensation at 150% of the rural carrier's daily rate of pay. The carrier will not receive an X day. That's a DACA 5. The regular rural carrier must make his or her election at the above options no later than the day of the worked Relief Day. Regular rural carriers who earn an X day for working Relief Days from the beginning of the guarantee period to the end of the Christmas period must receive the X day within the same pay period in which the Relief Day was worked. Regular rural carriers who do not receive this corresponding earned X day within the same pay period will receive 100% of their daily rate of pay in lieu of the X day. So, Yes, we do not have an ODL. We have a relief day work list. Assignment of non-Saturday relief days. Management may assign non-Saturday relief days in limited situations. In those offices where there's an insufficient number of leave replacements and one or more regular carriers are working relief days on more than infrequent occasions, it may be necessary to change the relief day on one or more K route. This kind of goes into the PTF formula stuff, so I'm just kind of going to drop that off for now. Relief day work list is supposed to be rotating. You need to use all available leave replacements first. And they actually, let me pull up the order of consideration real quick while I have this.
Well, my biggest concern is that they're trying to convert us into like a modified city carrier position. Because when the supervisor comes over and says, "Aren't you on the overtime desired list?" and say, "No, I'm a rural carrier. That's a city function." And they go, "Well, it's the same thing." No, it's not. Go away. And they look at me like I'm nuts. I'm trying to be nice about it while I'm laughing. No, we don't have an overtime desired list. You can't, force me to help on other routes during the week. You can't, and you especially can't ask me to help on my drop day if I work my drop day. Can't pay me any more than you are.
All right, order of consideration. The covering a route when a regular rural carrier is absent. The document represents the position of the NRLCA as supported by the contractual and other language cited. Number 1, primary assigned leave replacement, entitled to weekly evaluated hours when covering the route for full week, may only then be replaced to avoid overtime or additional overtime. And this is from Article 30.2.0. And B, when covering route for entire week, they may be required and or request to take a relief day on J or K routes. The relief day is not necessarily the same as the regular carrier. Article 30.2.H. C, when a leave replacement is being scheduled on a day-to-day basis, the primary substitute RCA or RCR must be scheduled for work on their primary assignment if available, even if this results in compensation at the overtime rate. Pre-arbitration settlement from March of 2005, known as the M84. Number 2, if the primary assigned leave replacement is not available, management may assign an available part-time flexible role carrier before assigning the second or third leave replacement on the matrix. Article 30.2.D.2 and the M84 again. Number 3, assign the leave replacement in the secondary spot on the matrix. No entitlement to overtime. Also from the M84. Assign the leave Number 4, assign the leave replacement in the tertiary, the third spot on the matrix. No entitlement to overtime. Again, citing the M84. Number 5, assigned by seniority another qualified substitute RCA or RCR in that delivery unit. Qualified means having received training or been utilized on the route. No entitlement to overtime. Article 30.2.D.3 and again the M84. Number 6, if no qualified substitutes, rural carrier associates, or rural carrier relief employees within the delivery unit are available, the employer may designate any other leave replacement in the office prior to selecting a regular rural carrier to work in accordance with Article 8.5. Number 7, if no other leave replacement in the office are available, the employer may schedule a leave replacement from another office before selecting a regular rural carrier to work in accordance with Article 8.5. If a leave replacement is scheduled to case and carry a regular rural route in his or her assigned office, the leave replacement is considered unavailable to work in another office. Article 30.2.D.5. I have heard many times where RCAs are running full routes and then getting sent into other offices. No, 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 no. File. Number 8. Management may, on some occasions, split a route or schedule an RCA to serve a regular route and an auxiliary route. Note, the NRLCA position is that the term on some occasions does not include scheduling multiple assignments or splitting routes on a repeated or ongoing basis. Except in emergency situations, management must not schedule a leave replacement to serve on 2 full assignments or 1 full assignment and 1 or more partial assignments in a single day if the evaluations of these assignments total 12 hours or more. That falls under the Step 4 R96 and the Wilson letter, the P115. Number 9, select a regular carrier to work in accordance with Article 8.5. A. Select carriers on the relief day work list in order of seniority on a rotating basis to work on their relief day. Carriers on relief day work list are paid one of the ways at their option. Article 9.2.C.5.f. 1. A DACA code R. Carrier management mutually agree on X day within next 12 weeks. No additional compensation. Use the form 3971 for that. Completed and same consideration as approved annual leave. Yes, X days have the same consideration as annual leave. Number 2, DACA 3, the 50% additional compensation and X days scheduled by management within next 12 weeks. Management must give 3 days notice when scheduling X day. This is under the Wilson letter, the P115. Number 3, DACA Code 5, carrier receives 100% of daily evaluated pay, no X day. Letter B, if the need exists, the employer will accept volunteers from regular carriers not on the list before requiring regular carriers not on the list to work their relief day. Such requirement will be by juniority, Article 8.5.A.2. C, require a regular carrier not on the relief day work list to work. This is done by juniority and does not rotate. DACA Code 3 is the only compensation choice. Article 9.2.C.5.g. Notes. Any regular carrier may be bypassed from working a relief day if the hours worked would cause them to exceed 2080 hours for the guarantee year or 56 hours for the week. Article 8.5.c. Regular carriers with annual leave, sick leave, or an X day scheduled adjacent to their relief day will not be required to work their relief day. Article 8.5.A.3. And then number 10. In emergencies, any other qualified employee may be assigned. Article 30.2.D.6. And that is the order of consideration and the relief day work list.
Oh, God, I'm relieved to hear that.
And just for that, I need another sip of juice.
The thing about it for everybody is it is a relief day work list. That is the only day. And they have to notify you in advance if they're going to work you on your relief day. Don't think that they're just going to call you up the day of and be like, hey, no, somebody else called in. We need you to come in and run the route because you're on the relief day work list. That's not how it works. They can try. And if you agree, then you go in. But they can't force you to come in on the day of.
And they can't just, and like some management thinks, if you're on the relief day work list, then you're automatically volunteering to work every relief day, and that's that. That's how some management sees it, like mine. All right, and so with our MOU that we currently have out, that would fall in place before number 10. And those that are not familiar with the MOU about working other stuff, let me see if I can find it. There it is. So, that MOU again, due to the continued staffing challenges in the rural delivery operations, the parties have agreed to a temporary limited modification to Article 8.1. I don't know how temporary this is anymore, guys. Which prohibits regular rural carriers working on Sunday, and to Article 30.1.p, which prohibits regular rural carriers from serving all or part of any rural route other than his or her assigned route. No regular carrier will be required to work on Sunday or serve part of any rural route other than their assigned route. For the purpose of the work outlined in this MOU, regular rural carriers must volunteer to perform these additional duties. Beginning Saturday, March 9th and continuing through Friday, August 23rd, regular rural carriers may volunteer to work on Sunday and may also volunteer to provide assistance on other rural routes in the office. Managers will ask for volunteer regular rural carriers who wish to work on Sundays to deliver packages on any routes in the office or perform service on other rural routes Monday through Saturday. Volunteering to work on Sunday or on other rural routes does not provide a guarantee or entitlement to work these assignments. Prior to scheduling a regular rural carrier who has volunteered for Sunday work as identified in this MOU, management must first schedule all assistant rural carriers, ARCs, who are assigned to either the hub or associated spoke offices, and then all available leave replacements in the office, including stations, branches, and any remotely managed post offices, RMPOs, prior to scheduling volunteer regular rural carriers for Sunday work. Volunteer regular rural carriers will be scheduled for Sunday work on a rotating basis by seniority following the scheduling of ARCs and leave replacements as outlined above. A regular rural carrier's assigned route must be completed prior to scheduling that volunteer rural carrier for service on another route in the office. In addition, offices must comply with the provisions of Article 30.2.d prior to the scheduling of a volunteer regular rural carrier to perform assistance on another rural route in the office. Regular rural carriers will be compensated at the overtime rate pursuant to Article 9.2.a.1k for hours worked on Sunday and for services on any rural route other than their assigned routes. All work hours must be recorded in the actual weekly hours block on the PS Form 1314. Hours worked on Sunday or spent providing service on the rural routes or on other rural routes are also annotated in the daily overtime block. Regular rural carriers who work the relief day in accordance with Article 8.5 will not be scheduled to perform service on other rural routes in the office on that day. Additionally, management may bypass scheduling these volunteer regular rural carriers to work on Sunday or other rural routes if it would cause the carrier to exceed the annual work hour guarantee. Okay, I'm done. It's volunteer only, guys, and they can't mandate you. Supposedly.
You know, and that's the thing is a lot of management is going to try and force you to do things that you shouldn't be doing, but you should make sure that you're doing the right thing and taking care of yourself and following the contract as much as you can.
When I had that instance on Monday, for example, when I went out and assisted on the other two routes after I completed mine. And I say completed because when I got back to the office at 5:30 and my supervisor's like, "Did you get my text?" I said, "Nope." She had texted me 2 hours prior. I looked it up after the fact that said to just go right out and don't come back to the office to go out and find the other kid and go help him first. No, you complete your route. You come back, you do your return to DU, you do your end of shift duties. Once that is done, then you flip PM casing, you flip that scanner over to the correct route, and then you go out and do what you got to do on that next route. And then when you get back, you flip your scanner back over to your route, and then you clock out.
I've got a question for you because this has happened, and your professional advice would be appreciated on this.
Sure.
What if you're not on the workday relief list, and you come back Friday afternoon at 4:50 p.m., not 1:45 like you do, but 4:50 like I do, and there's a note on your case saying, "Bill, we have 2 open routes tomorrow. I need you to come in." What would your advice be to me?
No. You have 2 open routes tomorrow. Sucks to be you. I'm not on the relief day work list. And you're probably one of the more senior carriers. I mean, in my instance, I'm the junior carrier, so I'm the low man on the fuck me pole. And which,
Well,
yes, sorry, I've dubbed that as the totem pole. And in my instance yesterday, I'm not on the relief day work list, so I was forced into work.
well, first of all, a note at your case is not a proper form of communication.
That it
Second
is
of all,
not.
like Frequency said, what note? Because I,
Exactly.
I it would go in my pocket and go home with me. I wouldn't throw it in the trash can next to my case.
Oh, no, no, you just save that up as documentation to use them against them in a future date.
And I just sit there and I laugh. It's like you could call me up to ask me about a missing parcel that a customer says it's supposed to be in the parcel locker, and I go back to the CBU and it's in their mail slot. There's
Yeah,
no key in the mail slot indicating a parcel locker parcel, but there's a week and a half's mail plus the spur that would fit in there. And you just is if you don't have a key. Well, I didn't find a key in it. How could you find the key if you didn't look in your mail slot, which is jammed with mail and the spur you're looking for? I read the numbers off, and the supervisor goes, "That's the numbers." I'm like, "What do you want me to do? Would you mind taking it to the door?" No problem. And I took it to the door and scanned it again.
absolutely. And that's another thing that I get all the time. And we found this, we got newer RCAs. They may misdeliver. I mean, my RCA is good. He does have a little bit of dyslexia, so once in a while I'll pick something up that, he's gotten my route down pretty good. And I did have to say something to him. I said, did you have a dyslexia moment Saturday? He's like, huh? I said, I picked up 2 parcels out of 504's box that belonged to 704's. He's like, oh, oops. But you know what? When I grabbed those and I took them to 704, I scanned them delivered at the box at the time. If you're going to be fixing misdelivered packages, and this goes out to you RCAs as well, if you recover a misdelivered package and you go and deliver it to where it needs to go, scan it, delivered, when you re-deliver it. That way, the tracking is showing that it was re-delivered to you on that day at this time in this location. Right, guys?
I have to make a comment that I put up in several Facebook groups the comment that if we don't have the disputes back, then the route shouldn't be adjusted.
I agree.
I'm a little over 780 responses on the 5 different pages I put it on. One of the responses that I got back was funny because the individual said, "How can this be?" And they have a 0 in their salary on their 4241A. And you know what my response was? You're looking at the wrong sheet. That's the sheet that belongs in your book at your case,
Not your
because they
personal
left
copy.
they left the personal copy with the salary back at the office. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to be disparaging in any sense of the matter, but please pay attention. Details matter. And especially if you're leaving that stuff there, then there's people in your office going around checking everybody's evaluation. They're sneaking in earlier. They're at the end of the shift. They're walking around checking people's cases to see who went up and who went down, because not everybody's open about what happened to their routes. In my office, we had most of our routes go down, 2 to 3 hours. Some went down 4 and 5 hours. Maybe it was the FSS flats that were discontinued. I lost an hour there. Maybe it was because the radar reports didn't accurately report the WSH numbers, the political mail numbers, or whatever other dropped off publications we get at the back of the dock. Don't leave your personal information out there for people to gawk at. Okay.
I agree. I have my personal one with my salary at home with me, and the other one will go in the route book, obviously. But yeah, it's and I got a lot of people saying integrity scan when you scan it when you redeliver it if it was a misdelivered package or something. Not only is I get it, an integrity scan, but that also is a CYA scan because that's going to cover your behind. And I last Saturday I had mentioned I worked my relief day last Saturday and rode along as a trainer with our other RCA that's been there a little bit longer than the 2 newer ones, just to see where he was at because I didn't train him. And that was the big thing is was getting him, I said, scan it where you deliver it. Don't scan it in the truck. Don't scan it. The old version, I remember all the old regulars when we didn't have GPS on the scanners. You would scan it, as you're driving half a block away to that box and have it scanned and throw it in the box. I said, don't do that. I said, the regular was doing that, wasn't he? And he's like, yeah. I said, don't do that. I said, for this specific reason is to cover your own ass. And I use this with everybody that I train when it comes to scanning it where you deliver it. 2 Christmases ago when I was still in RCA, and it was actually, I was covering the route that I have now. I delivered a package at the door. I scanned it on the front porch right outside the door and left it there. The customer called the next day saying they never got the package. And we pulled it right up on the map and showed pinpoint right there where I scanned it on the front porch where I left it. That covers your behind. Scan it where you deliver it. So yeah, that's where, it's all about covering your own behind.
Well, I like the people that sit there and say, well, I don't have pocket. Put the scanner in when I take a big package up there. Scanners, most of them, and if they don't, most of them do have a little stretchy pad in the back so that you can put your hand through there and grasp if you have a large package. There are shoulder holsters that people make out there specifically for our scanner.
There's belt holsters that everybody, I think, should have gotten one when the scanners came out. I personally don't use it because I don't care for them. But no, yeah, I will flip that scanner to where the scanner's on the back of my hand, and so then I have the stretchy thing there, so that's where I can pick it up and carry it. Unless it's, a couple bigger boxes. Sometimes I set the scanner right on top of the box and carry it up that way too, if I know it's not going to fall off. In the wintertime, I wear hoodies, so I will put the scanner in my hoodie pocket, but in the summertime, I usually have no pockets, depending on what I'm wearing that day. And so, yeah, there is ways of doing that, but yeah, scan it where you drop it, because that's more importantly, that's your time for where you deliver that package and how it's accounted for time-wise for your evaluation. And then those parts are that straight line measurement between your park point and your delivery point when you do your mapping. But also, it covers your behind. It really, really does. And I say that firsthand because I've experienced that. And I use that in all my training with all my RCA. Scan it where you deliver it, because it's going to cover your butt if that customer calls and says, I never got my package. Well, did you look outside your front door? Did you look on your back porch? Did you look at your car in front of the garage, That can at least tell them where it was dropped off.
The customer in question said, is in the parcel locker. And when I went back to the office, I had the supervisor run the numbers, and it didn't say parcel locker, it said mailbox. So I said to the supervisor, when you call me, can you look at all the information first before you call me? I circled back to do that just to find out. In the records, it's showing in the mailbox. Again, in F management.
There's just those little things. I mean, and when some people are looking at their 4241Ms and they're seeing out of route drive and out of route walk, that is your park points and your delivery points and that you set in your DPM that are not on the street next to a mailbox or on the street as you're driving. Those out of route distances and out of route walking is where you park your car, where you park your vehicle, and where you deliver that package. That distance you walk, or that time you walk between the vehicle and where you drop that package off.
Well, we're at 9:09 there, young lady. You want to wrap this up?
We can do that.
Yeah.
You got anything else, guys? I'm a little long-winded tonight. Sorry.
I don't.
I've got plenty to say, but you'd be editing 3 hours. But
No, I think we're pretty much ready to wrap it up.
Now we have to look forward to the adjustment cuts.
Yes.
And how that's going to progress. That's the next step of our misery.
Yeah, and once we find out how that's going down, I'm sure we will pass that info on. I don't see any routes in my office getting cut, so I have no clue.
No, no offices in my route will be cut, so we're good on that too.
I've got at least 3 in my office that can be cut, but they're still under the evaluation. So, according to the hearsay, they may not be cut first. Who knows? You can't judge what the hell what the criteria is that they're going to be doing the cuts by. Like some people said, oh, I do a 63-hour route, but I do it under evaluation. I should be able to work it. But. Okay, I mean, fine. You want to give them 6 hours free a week? Fine. You go ahead and do it. Knock yourself out. But then don't come back and cry when you do get cut and you're back to a 43 because you want a Saturday drop day. A Saturday drop day for me is a $14,000 pay cut. A Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, wow, that's nice because that's only an $8,000 pay cut for me. And
Yeah,
even though I'm
those.
overburdened, I can still get done under the evaluated hours.
All right, guys. So we're gonna wrap this up tonight, so I can get some editing done and get this out for everybody. And James, your final comments for tonight?
Well, I know that some people got higher evaluations, but they still haven't returned to what they were pre-Rex. I know some people stayed the same. I know some people lost. Some people lost more than I did. But we have to go through these with a fine tooth comb because management's going to screw you over any which way they can. So you have to find it. You have to fight for it. And even if right now the situation is not going our way, there's an opportunity for that to change. It's coming up. National leadership is already running scared. National leadership is already nervous about what we're doing here on this podcast. They're listening to what we're saying on here, trying to take ideas from what we say and use them in their own campaign to keep their positions. We see it every video that they put out. They talk about the same things, they use the same words that we use on this podcast. So we are making a difference. The craft talking to us that we put through this podcast is making a difference in national leadership, a very small one, but it's happening. So remember, no matter what happens through all of this, we're all in this together.
Bill.
Well, the segue off of James, a snowflake turns into a snowball. A snowball turns into an avalanche. What starts small can build. And that's what we're doing. We're building the avalanche to run over the National Rural Letter Carriers Association National Board. Not everybody on there, but the ones who are truly disconnected from the craft. And only you guys can make that happen for us, either by being delegates or selecting delegates to the National Convention who represent your views and your ideals, your concern. The National Rural Letter Carriers Association should educate, protect, promote the craft. It's a service position. It's not a pad to retirement position, which is what they've been doing. And if you haven't been out on a route, if you haven't gone out into the offices, if you're so busy checking our podcast that you're not paying attention what's going on to the rest of the Facebook pages, then you're totally disconnected from what's going on in the real world. And you need to get your heads out of your asses and wake up, because one of these days you're going to find out that you have more non-union carriers than union carriers. And then who's going to pay your $188,000 a year salary? Everybody bear with the system. Like James says, check every line, every iota, every zero, question everything, challenge everything, dispute everything that you possibly think of. Do it intelligently, do it dispassionately. You have to remember the numbers will speak for themselves. It's going to be a rough month in April, and there's going to be a lot of tears, and it's just the way it is, folks. And it won't improve until we change the leadership of the National Rural Letter Carriers Association. With that, go out, be safe, your job efficiently, professionally, do everything you're required to do, and then get your asses home to your loved ones, because at the end of the day, you're the most important delivery, and I mean that.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, definitely. You know, I is what James pointed out too, and they spend a lot of time monitoring us, listening to us, taking away our ideas and using them as their own. But those that do listen to us every week, just remember where you heard that first, where you heard those ideas, where you heard that stuff first. And I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to further go into details on that one. But again, guys, I thank every single one of you. I thank to all the audience members that listen to us live, everybody that listens to us all week. Our numbers and listeners are still growing almost daily. Big shout out and thank you to everybody that does listen, that does appreciate us. I mean, we get people that reach out to us every single day with questions, concerns, just looking for some advice on what to do, where to go, how to educate a new carrier or train a new RCA. There was one thing I was going to touch on tonight, and I do apologize that we didn't get to that. I'll try and do that again next week, because as you all know, I really have a thing when it comes to educating the new RCAs. But yeah, it's small strides, but they're getting there. We're making a difference, even if it's just a little bit at a time. And I do appreciate everybody. We all do. You can support us. We do have our merchandise. There are some campaign t-shirts items up on there as well. The link for that's in the show notes across all the platforms. So that note, you guys, have a safe week. For those that didn't get their new evaluation Saturday, I hope everybody is... I know not everybody's going to be happy with them come Monday. I understand that. Double check them. If you got disputes, definitely file those disputes. Remember, each individual dispute has to have its own form and documentation. And I'll get the files up for y'all. If I don't do it tonight, I'll try and do it within the next day or two. And on that note, guys, stay safe all week. Have a good one, and we'll be back next week. And no, my F-bombs are not alcohol related. Thank you very much.